Today we're walking through my process and my plan in order to create a author business for fiction specifically that is making me at least $16,000. Why $16,000? We'll just have to watch and find out. And that's $1,600 a month, by the way. So for a long time, I have been really dissatisfied with the way the author and fiction business runs in general. Mainly because it's based around an e-commerce model where you make money by selling a specific product, and those products are really low priced, usually like $5 or less for fiction books. Sometimes you can go as high as $10, but really it's a small amount. And the reason that's difficult to make profitable is because if you really, the only way to make good profit off of any kind of product out there is to run ads to it. And when you have such a small product and a price that is so small, it's really hard to be able to make profitable ads for those small products. There are ways to make it work, and people certainly do make it work, but I feel like the margins are just so small that it's not worth it to a lot of people. Add to that, the process of creating a book is a super time-intensive process. I know for myself, if I wanted to, I could create a product, like say an online course or something like that, that takes me the same amount of time as writing a fiction book, but I can sell it for $200. That's much easier to make profitable with ads because you have $200 to work with. As long as you're spending less than $200 to make one sale, you're making a profit. With books, you have $5 to work with, or maybe 10, maybe a little bit more if you have a series. So anyway, I've been really dissatisfied with this model. And what I want to do is go to a more subscription model first, because subscriptions, love them or hate them, they are by far the most stable form of income for entrepreneurs. That's why everybody's doing software products or communities or other type of membership models, because these create more stable recurring income. I have found that to be the case for my Story Hacker business. And so I've actually found quite a bit of success with the Story Hacker business. So I want to be able to translate those same skills over to my fiction business. So let's get into what I'm planning on doing to do that. First of all, this is the platform I'm using. This is the platform called Skool. And Skool is a absolutely fantastic platform. It is a community platform first, meaning so it kind of functions similarly to a lot of course platforms out there that you may have heard of before, like Kajabi or Teachable or any of those. But in addition to that, and rather like as its main thing, Skool is all about community. So it's like taking the best aspects of Facebook groups and the best aspects of a course platform like Kajabi and putting it all together. And I have found, I moved my Story Hacker group over to Skool about a year ago, and I have never regretted that decision once. It has been one of the best decisions for my business that I have ever done. And Skool is just, I think, it's a rapidly growing platform because people are figuring out just how great it is. You'll see it in YouTube instructors a lot. But it's I think underrated in the author community. I've even had some people come to me and say that they don't think I should do this on Skool because readers are more used to maybe joining a Patreon or a Discord or something like that. And my answer to that is, I'm sorry, but there's no way I'm going to Discord or to Patreon after having had my experience with Skool. Skool is just so much better than those platforms. And it's my intention to help readers understand that so we can start getting more readers on this platform. Now, that can be a little bit scary to me because usually if nobody's done something yet, it means that you don't have proof that it will work. and so I don't have proof that this will work. But already I've seen some amazing things starting to come to fruition that I think is going to really blow this thing up. So I'm not going to go into all the ins and outs of the Skool platform and how it works, but you can see some of the different tabs and things here. Just trust me that it is a fantastic platform for community, and I intend to sell this as kind of a community first reader group that also happens to have a whole lot of books that you can buy. So this is a graphic that I had designed for me. of all of the different books that you get inside of this group. Some of them are not out yet, but they will be soon, obviously, because I already have covers for them. So they're in the process. They're going to be coming soon. And so I think it's really cool graphic, by the way. I love this thing. But let me explain exactly what I'm doing and why I'm doing this. So in Skool, when you join Skool as a group creator, you get automatically put into this Skool group called Skoolers, which is basically, it's a group for all the people that own a Skool group. Pretty simple. And every quarter, Skool does this competition called the Skool Games. And there's various categories. And the top 5 from every category ends up going to a all-expensive paid trip to LA to visit Skool HQ in LA, get a one-day mastermind with Alex Hormozy, and they get this really awesome Skool Games trophy. Also a whole lot of street cred. And my Story Hacker group is in the tech category, which is very, very competitive. Already in the last 7 days, these people have picked up, okay, well, maybe not the last 7 days, but their total monthly recurring revenue growth over since the beginning of October already exceeds what I'm making in the Story Hacker group. But it's so this is a competitive category. However, the hobby category is far less competitive. You can see the monthly recurring growth since October is a lot less. And if we look at the winners of the last quarter, you see the top person made about $16,000 of monthly recurring revenue to win the Skool game. So that is why my goal is $16,000. I want to get to $16,000 by the end of this quarter, which means by the end of the calendar year. And I have some work to do because it hasn't grown yet. I have only been doing preparation over the last couple of weeks here in October. I should have started a little bit earlier, but I think we can still make it if all goes well. So these are the people that I'm having to compete with this time around. These are the different groups in the hobby category. But anyway, that's why I set the goal of $16,000. Now, in order to get into the top 5, I could probably win with maybe 8 or 9,000 instead. Let me look at the last quarter again. Yeah, so the last one, the fifth place had just under $8,000. So if I were in that range, I would probably be okay, and I'd still get the trophy and get to go to LA and all of this stuff. But really, like, who wants to be number 5, right? We want to be number 1. So I'm going for 16,000, maybe more. Now, I know this video is going to sound a little bit like I'm rambling a little here and there, but please hear me out. There's some important background information that I need to give you first before I go on. Firstly, I want to introduce you to this fellow. His name is Goose. I doubt that's the name he was born with, but that's the name that he goes by. And he was, I don't think he officially works for Skool anymore, but he used to. He's very high up there. He's good friends with the founder and all of those people. And he's been going around the world, literally doing this world tour, meeting up with other Skool creators. And I actually went to one of these meetups in New York City a while back and got to meet him. And he was absolutely generous enough to actually give me a little bit of coaching on some of what I'm doing, which I did not ask him for at all. I was not planning on it being like, I did say like, hey, can we go over some stuff? And I thought like maybe over dinner tonight, right? But he was kind enough to actually give me a couple of coaching sessions since we met. And that's been really helpful. I'll go over some of the stuff that we've come up with in a second. But the second little bit of background information I need to introduce you to is there is this group called Grow with Evelyn. It's mostly about using ads to grow your business. There's various different ways that you can do it, but including running ads to a Skool group. And I recently posted in here, Evelyn is she is the person that runs the ads for Skool. So she's very good. She was also one of the first winners of the Skool games. She knows what she's doing. She's excellent with ads. So that's just another little bit of background information that I'll come back to later. So back to my coaching with Goose. So Goose, I showed him this group and I told him what I wanted to do with it. And he actually got really excited. He was just like, we have a lot of authors who are learning self-publishing or how to write books, but we don't actually have any authors that are putting their universes on Skool and having like reader groups. And I was just like, yeah, that's why I want to be the first one to do that. And he said like, go ahead, work on your offer, work on your page, get it ready to launch. And if I like it, I will send it up the ladder to Sam. And if you don't know, Sam is the CEO of Skool, and maybe get his help along the way. And I was just like, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. I wasn't asking for any of this, but here I am being coached by one of the top people in Skool. So I made a couple of changes and started working on my offer. Now, one of the things that Goose told me that was really important to me was this idea that he said, you need to focus on the things that you do best and go really hard on those things, but you're also going to need other things helping along the way. So you're going to need to get other people to help you and invest at least like 30%, if not more, of what you're making from Skool back into this business. And I was like, okay, that for me means I'm going to be focusing on YouTube, and I'm going to be focusing on writing books, the stuff that actually goes in the community. But I also knew I really needed to have an ad strategy. I'm going to need to run ads to this thing. So back to Evelyn's group. What I did is I went into this group and I posted this post here. I said, hi all, I've been mostly a lurker here, but I was wondering, is it acceptable to ask if anybody would be willing to help me run ads directly to a new Skool group I'm creating? This would be a paid gig, of course. I'm starting a brand new group in the hobby category, and it's my goal to have it win the Skool games by December, which means I need about 16K MRR. Why don't I just do it myself? Because I was counseled by an expert in Skool, yada, yada, yada. You get the picture. So I was just asking for help. I was expecting just some random member of the group who knew what they were doing and who had gone through Evelyn's courses to come and actually help me with this project. I was not prepared for Evelyn herself to actually reach out and say she's got something interesting. I'll reach out. Well, she did reach out, and she told me that she's working on doing some case study courses and be willing to help me out as long as I allowed her to document the process and put it in her community. I was just like, heck to the yes. So we're actually starting to work together. We're just about to start running ads. By the time this video goes out, we may have started them already. And so that strategy is absolutely killing it right now. And over the last week, I've really had to scramble to get some of the assets ready for this thing. So like this image here, some testimonials, this awesome trailer for the group, which I showed off in another video about doing AI video book trailers. That's in here, plus a little like video message from me, wearing my Gondorian helmet here. Just kind of going over some of the stuff that's in this group. So I had to prepare all of that in order to just kind of give people a sense of what's needed, and also work on the offer. So let's talk about what I'm actually doing. What's my strategy to actually get up to $16,000 by the end of December in monthly recurring revenue? So it's currently priced at $9 a month. And if you can do the math, 16,000 divided by 9 is an astronomically large number. It comes out to about 1,778 people that I need to get in at $9 a month. That's a lot of people, and it's going to be quite the numbers game to get that many people, especially when you consider that some people are going to leave while others come in. And so getting to that level of growth is very, very difficult, at least in the short term. So one thing Goose advised me when he was coaching me is he said, what could you create to give to somebody at a $1,200 annual offer? If we were to say we need $1,200 for a year, which comes out to $100 a month, what would I include in that kind of like a big high level offer? And so I gave it some thought. And what I ended up coming up with was this offer. So for the $9 a month, you get every fantasy book that I and my team have written. And there's a new fantasy book every month. We also do weekly nerd chats. I'm just calling them nerd chats because I don't necessarily have a structure for them yet. We're going to kind of figure that out as we go. But at the very least, it's a great place to just come and talk nerdy stuff. Like, it doesn't even have to be about these books. It can be about the latest, like what's going on with Star Wars or DC or Marvel or anything, that kind of stuff. But for the $1,200 a year, so usually an annual option is like cheaper than 12 months of the $9 a month, right? Well, this is a little different. You're getting tons more stuff if you go for the $1,200 a year. So this is like an upper tier, essentially. So for the $1,200 a year, you get everything you get in the monthly, of course, plus a lot more stuff. The big one is a character named after you in a future book. I got this idea from a friend of mine who was doing a Kickstarter, and he was selling this as an add-on to his Kickstarter, or as a tier of his Kickstarter, for $1,000. And people were paying that. So I thought, like, if I included it as just one of the things you get for $1,200, that would actually make it pretty valuable. And then you also get your name in the acknowledgments of every book we publish while you're a member. And you get to join a private mastermind to kind of just talk about where we're going with the future of this fantasy universe. So additional meetings with me, essentially. And up to 4 special edition hardcovers shipped to your door each year. This is my first foray into physical goods. So we'll try to produce 3 or 4 of these a year. These will not be available anywhere else. This is a absolute exclusive to the Fantasy All Access library. Plus, and I'm only doing this for the next week or two, I'm including a private one-on-one session with me. This is just an extra incentive for people to act now, and I will do this now and probably do it again towards the end of the month. But this is something that I don't do a lot. In fact, I pretty much eliminated all private one-on-ones with people. So if you are interested in a private one-on-one with me, this is the only way to get it. And so I'll leave this for at least the next week or so for those who are interested. And by the way, I should say this is primarily for fantasy readers, but really, if you want to support me at all and you don't want to do it through the Story Hacker group for whatever, or in addition to the Story Hacker group, please, you're welcome to come in. This is probably more for the authors out there who enjoy fantasy, but I'm sure there's stuff that you can get out of this. I'm sure, like, if you want to get that private one-on-one session with me, that's only available here at the $1,200 a year plan, in addition to everything else that you get here. So that is the offer I came up with. I'm sure I will adjust it and change it as we kind of figure out what people like and what people don't like. We'll figure that out. But at the very least, that's the situation we have right now. All right. Now, you heard me say earlier that the 2 things that I'm going to be focusing on the most is writing books and doing YouTube videos. So this is my plan. And right here, what you can see here, this is an N8N automation that I created all about helping me create YouTube scripts and as well as SEO articles that all have something to do with a given topic. So I'm going to walk you through this really quick. But it's not really that important. The main thing that you get out of this is that this is creating a very important, very well configured YouTube script for me so that I don't have to spend too much time on it. It also does all of the research for me. I also sometimes provide it with certain sources that I want it to go through. So, my plan for YouTube is I'm actually creating not 1, but 2 YouTube channels. And on these channels, I'm going to be producing not 1, not 2, not 3, but 7 videos every week, essentially 1 video a day on both channels. That's not something that's normally doable for most people. I'm only able to do it because I have these automations that help me out. I do a lot of the topic research. I put all of that research into these automations and it spits out the script essentially. And it's done. I've done a couple of these now. They're actually really good and they're accurate. I know because I know these topics a lot of the time and I can tell when it's wrong about stuff. And so far, this has been a fantastic automation. I'll just briefly run you through this. So I give it a topic in this form here, and then it goes through and does a perplexity deep research. From there, it creates the document where the YouTube script is going to go. It writes a bunch of intros based on a bunch of intros that I give it that are high performing. It does an analysis of those intros and chooses the best one. Then it writes a script. Then it writes the titles, like 10 possible titles for this script. And it writes a bunch of metadata, like a description and hashtags and other things to go with it. And then dumps all that into a document. Then it loops back around and we do a similar process to create an SEO article, which goes on my website, storytellingdb.com. I'll show you an example of what this looks like. So for instance, we have Middle-earth books and shows in chronological order. This table isn't in most of them. This is something else that I created earlier. But then here in every one of these articles is an ad for the group, as well as there will eventually, this video actually hasn't been released yet. So there will eventually be a copy of my video embedded in this article. So it kind of all meshes together. And so we're getting SEO traffic as well as just regular YouTube traffic. And again, I'm producing one of these every day for 2 different channels. One is centered on the lore of various fantasy franchises like Middle-earth, and one is centered around the concept of mythology, because all of my books kind of exist in a shared mythological universe. So I figured there's some overlap there. I'm not sure which one will perform better. I will probably, once I get a sense for which one is performing better, not just in terms of number of views, but in terms of how many of those people are coming into my group, I will probably focus more on one or the other and maybe focusing a little less on others. But for now, it's one book or one video every day in each channel. So those videos actually will start going out on Saturday, this Saturday, which should be tomorrow as this video comes out. Which leaves the other thing that I'm working on, which is actually going through and reviewing books. Now, I have a bunch of books that were written by ghostwriters that I just need to read through and make sure they're all good and edit those up. But I also have a few AI written books that function a little bit similarly, although they require a little bit more editing than a ghost written book does. And this is one that I'm currently working on right now. This is book 5 in my Fairy Queen series. Yesterday, I edited the first 10 chapters, which is about a little over 17,000 words, and about a quarter of the book, which means if I keep this up, I will have finished this book in 3 more days, which is pretty cool if I do say so myself. So I'll be going through these and some of the ghost written books and some of the other content that I've written myself and adding that to the group as we go. I'm planning on releasing 3 books in the group each month for the next 3 months, just to kind of like bulk out the content that we have there. So that's where we are at. That is a long ramble about my plans and everything I'm doing, but I hope this was exciting for some of you. If this works, this is going to open the floodgates for authors to have an entirely different revenue scheme for their books, where we're not really selling books as so much as we're selling the community around a specific author or a specific genre. And books are just bonuses on top of that. They are the marketing for the group. So it's still scary to me knowing that this has not really been done before, but I think that's just because Skool is kind of still a newish platform. People don't really realize how much better it is than Patreon or Discord and all of those other platforms. It's just so much better. Like, you guys don't even know. So I think once people get the hang of this, more people will be coming in and doing this for their universes. But I intend to be the person that proves that it's possible. And we're just going to see how this goes. We've got somebody on ads. We've got me on the YouTube going like crazy and just cranking out a whole bunch of stuff. And we've got me also writing a bunch of books, as well as editing a bunch of books and publishing a bunch of the books that go in this group. And so that's what we've got going on in this group. I hope that was useful for you, and I'll see you in the next video.